Today, on Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu addressed the nation with a speech that was as much about history as it was about politics. While he paid tribute to the founding fathers and heroines who fought for our freedom in 1960, his real message was clear. His administration is on course to rescue Nigeria from decades of economic mismanagement, and the worst, he says, is already behind us. The president highlighted reforms such as the removal of fuel subsidies and the unification of foreign exchange rates, insisting that these difficult steps are now yielding dividends. He cited improved GDP growth, lower inflation, a stronger naira, and rising external reserves. But politically, this was more than just numbers. It was a defense of his government's controversial policies, a reassurance to citizens enduring hardship, and a subtle warning to critics that his administration is delivering results. In essence, Tinubu positioned himself as the reformer willing to take the pain for Nigeria's long-term gain. On security, the president declared victories over terrorism, banditry, and separatist threats, saluting the armed forces for restoring peace in troubled regions. He also pointed out that the state and local governments now have more resources at their disposal, shifting responsibility for development beyond Abuja and raising questions of accountability at the subnational level. Importantly, he reached out to young Nigerians with promises of student loans, consumer credit, and funding for creative and tech enterprises, a calculated move to rebuild political trust with a restless youth population that often felt sidelined. Beyond the promises and statistics, today's Independence Day speech was deeply political. It was a message of legitimacy, unity, and hope, portraying this administration as the one steering Nigeria back to stability. Yet, the contradiction remains. While official figures paint a picture of recovery, ordinary Nigerians still grapple with high food prices, insecurity in many communities, and shrinking job opportunities. Today we ask, is President Tinubu's vision of a renewed hope, Nigeria, a reflection of reality, or is it a political optimism meant to buy time and faith? That's the conversation we'll be unpacking here this morning. I will start with you, Ogunono. What is your take on the presidential speech?
Well, I want to say, it is always a routine for any president of any nation to speak to the citizens. And this is one of the longest speech, or one of the longest speeches ever made by him. And it was actually projecting his administration. He was the one singing the glorious song. Like I said, each of his country is behind. And just yesterday, somebody was armed robbery, which was supposed to be a thing of the past. But in some countries, you rarely hear of armed robbery attacks. But mind you, it was carried out in the seat of power, Abuja, which so many things can be linked to that armed robbery attack yesterday. Again, what I would say that actually he has done, which I don't need to go to Harvard or Harvard Business School to study, is that yes, the subsidy removal has given room for more money to be shared. That one is truth. But the question we need to ask ourselves, this humongous amount we are seeing today, are we actually judiciously using it to better the lives of Nigerians? That's another question that maybe after 4 years we will stray to see how far. Another thing to that, which I will say is a fact also, or is truth, is the student loan, which also sometimes is subject to high level of criticism from me. I mean by me, because when I have looked at the way, because the loan was to help what Nigerians will call vulnerable Nigerians from indigent families. But if I will tell you that it has become issue of abuse But when I wrote and published on it, that it should be for those early players who can afford the payments of school for their children and upkeep should not even go near. But as it is today, the modalities involved in getting the loan, like as of last week, we heard that about 50-something, 55 million naira was for Uniport, for those who were able to get it. And look at the amount. I would say, without missing word, yes, leadership is progressive, no doubt. But Mr. President telling us that he has achieved what maybe Napoleon could not achieve in the space of 2 years. He achieved it, or in just few years of administration. That is where I'm having issue. Right. Because as we're discussing today, Mr. President should be saying the truth so that some of us who are critical should also know that leadership is taxing. That there's no way a leader can come on board and solve the whole problem, even in a given administration. It's impossible. But telling me that, oh, we have arrived, there are indices as well that are showing that our economy is still not in order. The issue of our refineries.
All right, so we'll still come to that. So we don't gather everything because just
the speech.
We'll take it one by one. Yes, please.
The speech, ordinarily for me, is to project his administration.
All right.
Not allowing us to even have a contribution to make. Rather, he was the one singing whatever he has done. Like when he said insecurity is behind. In a way, I would say, Mr. President, I disagree with you. If it's we are still battling it. Because even as of 2-3 days ago, we've had what happened in Kwara State. So for me, is a normal way of addressing the nation on Independence Day. So I have not failed in that obligation. That would have been another disappointment if Mr. President has failed to address the nation on this auspicious day when we are remembering our nationhood. And they will tell us, oh, because of what is happening today, Mr. President will not speak to the Nigerians. That would have been a very serious threat to our national existence.
All right, very well. Bishop, I will come to you now. The president, while he was making his address, said that the worst is over. Now, one would ask from the point of governance, do you think that this assertion is correct, or is it politically meant to reassure citizens in view of 2027?
Well, there's a saying that says, he who pays the piper dictates his tune. In this case, I think it's our own place as citizens to evaluate the performance of government. It's not very proper for the man on the driving seat, oftentimes to say how beautiful he drives or he pilots any vessel. Well, but be that as it may, he's the president, he has made a speech, and the rest of us are analyzing it. I think that the present government, looking at the backdrop of where they're coming from, and looking at the team Mr. President raised ab initio, well, they might have tried what within their faculty they can do. Because the way it is like we're at the crossroads. The Mr. President's team, they tend to be too political. That's the major problem we have. They are not technocrats. They don't seem to have the basic grasp of the minimum variables in terms of national development. And I must say that because I'm a strategist and it's my area, developmental strategy. What we do first in strategy, like he has done, you formulate your policies, you implant them, both into the citizens and into your team before you implement. But what we find is, even the policies that they have not understood, they jump into implementation. And in course of implementation, they find difficulties, challenges, Like even the fuel subsidy removal and all that, money is coming in. You had a trajectory to say you use this money to solve social problems, you use it to health issues like that. And the people are not connecting the two. Where is the money you are getting going? You are still taking loans. You are still bringing taxes that you are prevailing on the people who are already downtrodden to get out a lot of money from them. So you are creating poverty. So what we have is impoverishment. And that's why places like Brazil and all that, they came out of poverty because there was an intentional, policy to empower the people, to make their income, their livelihood to be better. And they have more resources to invest in the government. So the economy started picking up. You don't put so much money into the hands of technocrats who are unaccountable, who don't even give the people within the confines of their jurisdiction conviction that they're actually doing anything visible. And that's the contradiction. So the president is most of the time compelled to begin to give us his report card. When actually it's not necessary, we should rather be saying, oh, look how our lives have changed. The roads are getting better, our transportation system, our rail system, and our educational system. So for a president to take almost over one hour trying to project what is administration has, so that should be the job of the Minister of Information or somebody. Even before the independence speech, they've been saying all that. But we are not connecting this with reality, and that is where I want to say. They're not that they are like the student loan. Yes, you see them on television, on national television. They come up, people testifying that somehow they are benefiting. What is the percentage? Because when you want to look at success, you quantify it. And when you quantify, Nigeria now is about 200 million. What is the poverty index? What is the global rating of what we do? It's not when one technocrat comes and make a statement like God Kunjawara made, or the country is making this. But look at what she said. She said when you relate it to real figures concerning the life of the people, there is a disconnect.
Now, that's where I want to now ask you the next question, Bishop. Now, the president framed his government as one that inherited a near-collapsed economy. And but he said that he is now restoring order in line with the economy. Now, the question I want to ask you is, you have said that currently his policies are further impoverishing the people. Now, through taxes, taking humongous taxes from people who are already downtrodden. And it appears that the question would be, if in reality, Nigerians are not feeling this economic growth and the praises that he's singing of his administration, one would now say, who is to be blamed? Because one cannot take away the fact that through the removal of subsidies, yes, there has been increased allocation to states and all of that. So why are people still impoverished? Why are people not feeling the impact of this development and economic growth and stability that he is claiming his administration through their policies have achieved? Who is to be blamed? Is it blame shifting, or is there a disconnect somewhere?
There is a disconnect. The government principally is to be blamed, because when you find that there are a lot of resources and the resources is not reflected, though it may not be automatic, it's not reflecting on the society, then there are governance issues. And this problem is that on the street, we say it every day, our leaders are, with due respect to them, they are corrupt, they are not accountable, they are living too much of an exorbitant and life, and so they don't get their priorities right. Now you can imagine that, do you know the cost of governance is so high? That alone takes half chunk of the money. They have private jets, they keep buying new one. I'm saying officially. They have exotic cars, their cabinets are unnecessarily large, and everybody has to live in that way. And you see, and most of the time, you don't find them do a public budget where you can assess the expenditure from time to time. Most of these things are hidden because they are afraid that people will have a reason to hold them accountable. Even the schools we see today now, do you believe that there are still schools that in between states, even very developed states, that don't have even chairs for people to sit? There are those that have leaking roofs and all that. But if you ask them, they will just bring one or two that they have given attention and hype it in such a way that as if that is how it is everywhere. The same thing with healthcare. So the basic, the citizens are innocent. For instance, yes, every government will want to mop up resources. But you see, like recently, the governor of Abia State said, he said he is not aggressive about revenue generation, but he discovers that he is meeting his target. How is he doing it? He's empowering the people. That's exactly what we're saying. That's the model. He's empowering the people. He's creating an atmosphere of economic advancement within the space. So you see the traders are happy. Everybody is happy. Business is developed and is developing. Power is stable. So the people who do even SME businesses, small-scale businesses, can find their level. And they pay taxes voluntarily, without you compelling them, without you bringing tax enforcers and all that. Because they have the resources to be able to give back whatever the laws have said. But right now, what we have is, people don't even understand the policies. But you just find that you're a victim. Somebody is telling you, this is what you must do. Maybe you go to the bank, you want to renew, open an account. They tell you, oh, all these things have to be done. There is not even enlightenment. It's that period that you are held like that. You begin to struggle in between. At times, if you cannot meet up, you leave it. So you are killing businesses.
Right.
And now, but what we're trying to say that you create an environment where even external investors, direct foreign investments, can come in, apart from the insecurity. So the more money we have gotten, because there is no strategic plan. Let me tell you what happened. While Nigeria was growing at a very fast rate, we had two things. We have the rolling plan, what we call the rolling plan, and we have the development plan. The development plans are done in decades. In every 10 years, it doesn't matter the people in government. This is what government strategically look at, where the economy, where the education, where the nation will be. In America, they do it every 50 years. That's why any president of America that comes, they have what they call the American dream. They don't just come and begin to do what their party wants them to do. Look at Donald Trump. He said America first. Is there looking at the tariffs? Is there looking at the diplomatic relationship of those who have come into America through the wrong way? And what should be done with them? Should they be extradited and all that? So most of it is done, but they have economic this at the end of the day to advance the economy. They are still the #1 economy in the world. How do they sustain it? In our own year, we do what I call, how will I put it? I call it the tubu economy. You see, you start a policy, and most cases they don't drive. Like this presidential speech, and I can tell you, one fine speechwriter have just remained somewhere, as a job, just designed it for a president. The president might even be reading what he does not even know in reality. And that is the kind of people we have. So you cannot question to say, this will not, if I present this, the way the world will see it is not what is on ground.
All right.
But all they are doing is to promote their government. Mind you, we're into 2 years into another election, but all we see today are matters about election, as if election is tomorrow. So the governance issues are suffering. That's why I said the simple time to answer that question. What we have seen all over Nigeria, or two-thirds across public offices from the local government, is bad governance.
All right.
And that bad governance have blinded them to a point where what they are looking is the next election. How do we remain relevant? And not tied to performance, tied to whichever way we can do, use the security agencies, use the electoral, frustrate the electoral reform system and all that, and make sure we continue to perpetrate ourselves in office. So in that case, they become, anybody who has an opposing view become an enemy. Instead of seeing the person as a normal shaper of your government, that this is where you are blind to. You see the person as somebody who's in the opposition, somebody who should be taken away, and everybody should be praising it. And for people who want to survive with government or who do things with government, that's what they're taking. They are not telling government the truth. They come to say, Baba, you are the best. In fact, since Nigeria was created, when you go outside the shores, the people who know what economy is all about, they are telling you, look, the economy is not doing well. Look at Nigeria. We were in the mainstream, G this, G that. Now we are going to, what do they call it? The lower countries, BRICS. We are going there because most of the loans we used to access with the first world countries, they are beginning to look at us as we are not even using it well, and they are like America. They are not even giving external support. So what you say is gone, this is gone. So we are looking where we can go in and out. Why we are always doing that? And we say we have resources. So it's so much contradiction that we need to sit down, as a nation, call those who know. I always said one thing, and I believe, before he died, he said, those who know are not in charge. That's why cabinet formation, when Mr. President won the election, he was forming his cabinet. I was on Wish FM, and I told Cosby then that I said we're in trouble. The fact is that President have brought in too much politicians in his cabinet. And not politicians that have performed. Yes, our own governor here then was building bridges, was doing all that. And that was like, he was a developer, Mr. Project. I said, no, that's not point. We are talking of technocrats that understand economics. Look at Konjuwala, what she did. While she was minister under Obasanjo and the rest of them, we had a debt relief. The whole of our debts were written off. Paris Club. How did you get that? Has she played any politics here? She became the coordinating minister for economy. We became the 5th largest economy. Now, there are basic things to do. She's in the, up to today, as stars are shining, she's in WTO at DG. So, you need to take, and they tell you to your face, look, this is the way you should go. These are external, this is the way you should use external listing for this. Influence. The presidents then were listed, like Jonathan, he's a zoologist. He was listening. Yar'Adua was listening. So because they had good advisors, no matter how you were looking at Nigeria, compare it then and now. You see, that's why the fan cry, Jonathan should come back and all that. Why they are saying nothing happened in that regime? Look, compare it. All right. You say there were more resources in, even with the embezzlement and with the corruption there, life was still better.
You're right, Bishop.
So corruption at times is not even a major problem. It is the utilization of the funds you generate in a proper manner. If you don't use it well, there will be leakages. And people in your government will be cutting away with unnecessary policy. The resources that should be plowed into development. And that's the disconnect. And that's where people in government are living large. They even come to our face and throw it to us.
And
Bishop. Tell us their children now are getting involved in
politics. Okay.
And all that.
We'll still get back to, I know you still have a lot to say, but we'll take you one by one. Now, back to you. When you were speaking, I understood that your interest was more on the economic decision that the administration of President Bola Tinubu has taken so far. Now, when we look at it, we look at the speech highlighted economic growth, lower inflation, and stronger reserves. Now, when you look at all of that, one would expect that to a large extent, that, of course, should, improve quality of life and also put more money in the hands of government to utilize vis-a-vis the fuel subsidy removal. Now, the question would be, the president on one hand is saying that, we have stabilized the economy, we have so much money right now, we have more money to spend in administration and all of that. The question is, why do Nigerians say that these economic decisions don't reflect on their lives? That is on one hand. Number two, if we are getting so much money at this point, why the back-to-back borrowing by the federal government?
Well, let me say this. Firstly, our leaders have refused to learn from the past. Because what we are discussing about economy is a building block that when you put it, it will be growing. you don't need to even go to any soothsayer. It has a reflection. Now, I will just ask, look at, he said he inherited maybe government that, maybe economy that that did not even exist. But mind you, this is somebody that we call national leader of that party. I don't know if you are aware. Our president now was called the national leader of APC, which means he was part of the leadership of the former president, late Muhammadu Buhari.
The leadership is blaming.
Yes, that is now blaming. If, you know, I said something somewhere. The level of civilization is very far from Nigeria. Sorry. But ordinarily, considering our president telling us that he inherited a collapsed economy, which ordinarily should have been a contributor to fix, because it was his party that was in power, and he was so prominent. We may not see him as a minister, but he talks to Mr. President then. But today, we are now singing a song of shifting blame. Like my boss would say, you shift the goalposts. As we're discussing now, for instance, this is 2 years of his administration. Now, our refineries has gone into comatose. All the four refineries. So, where is it working? Oh, Dangote. But that Dangote has become the brain of Nigeria and the brain of our economy in terms of our buying fuel or petrol, kerosene, diesel, and the rest. That's the brain of Nigeria. Ordinarily, if our government of this administration is working, one of the first things to have done to stand tall before some of us should be whatever enemy of our refinery should be brought to book. NNPC should be on board, but they know what they're doing. They are giving nomenclature. They are changing name. NNPC, NNPCL. That's what we are after, because we like names. Ordinarily, as he has come on board, there should be a target for our national asset to be functional. Today night we are hearing news, oh, maybe we sell, oh, maybe we do this. And we are clapping hands. Coming back, if the economy is working, let me tell you, cost of production is part of economy that is vibrant. In Nigeria, anybody who wants this country to be a productive nation will never forget power. Sorry. Some of us, maybe have not traveled. I don't know anything. But any country that must be productive should not toy with energy, power supply. So tell me how our economy actually is now reaching those at the lower head of our economy. More money comes in, but it's still hanging in the hand of few individuals who are in power. So that is one thing that we have refused to understand. Like I said before, yes, the issue of the slogan or that statement, subsidy is gone, as is bringing in more money, but the more money is not being translated into development, into fixing our air sector. Because the last time I checked, even into our tourism, but the last time I checked, about 3 weeks ago, my president traveled out of this country in the north for vacation. But if our economy actually is helping to reach out to those at the grassroots, we shall have what we call tourist centers as well. See, River State, let me just talk about River State first. So, some places we have natural tourist centers. Some places have been able to crisscross. Some places in rivers, natural tourist centers. That all we need is just few money spent to build maybe a resort where people can go and engage. That would have also given room for those of us who cannot travel to Abuja or to Lagos to invest there, and you get your money. That is sign of that. That is sign of the word of the science. That the economy is growing. The economy growing with selling of oil. It's not an economy that will influence the common man who is somewhere selling, maybe trying to get cassava to process to make gari. Are you aware as of discussing today? Power. Because when I look at this country, we are discussing of power. As if we don't know the importance of power to an economy. We have been told about 10 years, 15 years ago that some companies, industries that would have helped our economy to reach out to the common man, they have left the shore. Why? Cost of production. Are you aware that today we engage also, we engage in buying of foreign goods, and in a way it's like cheaper than what we have. The other day I went to a car, maybe car market, whatever. The cars there, they are all used cars. But when we buy here, we say we have bought what? New cars. Nobody, a car from factory cannot be placed outside on that sun, in the sun. No, come anywhere. I know what I'm saying. No car that is manufactured can be taken to the sun to keep. So all the cars you see in all the car sales, industry, whatever, they are cars used. Why? Because as it is today, we cannot even give room for car manufacturers to invest because cost of production is high. Now, I know what they're saying. Are you aware up to now that Brazil has cassava more than Nigeria? Maybe for don't know, Brazil has cassava. But I was born to come and say cassava. But we are unable to even, like River State has the cassava processing industry. Is it working? So when they say that our economy is improving, it's improving because we are selling the crude oil. And because we are selling the crude oil is entering into the hands of government officials who don't even have any shoe industry, who don't even have any barbing salon. Because one, you have to buy also kerosene or maybe fuel to power it, which shouldn't be. So tell me, the indices that our economy is improving on the common man, for me, without me seeing what I will say, the economy is improving on those in power who can have whatever it takes to travel out.
Right.
But on the common man, we are still observing because as we're just saying now, there is no food security. We're still battling for food security. Yeah, we are. Sorry, during the COVID-19 or coronavirus, food was cheap in America. But in Nigeria, are you aware that food was also what? Food was costly. And that's why we also came across what we call palliative. Palliative. I don't know what that word. Where rice is being shared for Nigerians as if people were at war. So the foreigners that observe us, that we go to, they look at what is on ground. They don't look at what you are saying. Our president went to Brazil about a month ago and told the Brazilian president that corruption is over. There is no country on earth, let me be frank, that is free of corruption. There is corruption free. No nation on earth. Because it's about human life, human behavior. But when our governor will, our president will come on board and say everything is working, it's a high level of fallacy. We shouldn't be. Every government has its own challenge, no doubt. But telling us openly that no, everything is going on well, for me is questionable.
Right.
And it's a high level of hypocrisy that people are dying. Instead somebody has been able to think of his past, or economy has improved beyond. No, now, because see, the well-being of Nigerians. Today should be a day where you and me should be celebrating for having independence. It's not a day to begin to tell us what we know. See, the anointing on earth is that when you tell somebody who knows the truth, Bible says, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set us free. And even Mr. President has come and said, look, yes, so we are struggling. We are struggling to put it, but please, we know where we are coming from as a nation. It's not easy. Some of us can say, but when you come outright and say, everything has been done, things are working, come on. Some of us will see what is happening outside the world. Are you aware that in America you don't come to tell us that you are building roads? Watch Al Jazeera, watch CNN and all other international news media. You don't see a governor of any state coming to commission road. I don't just watch CNN. Here in Nigeria, we can, if it's possible, Nigeria will go and begin to pay millions of dollars to maybe to Sky News to come and do commission. That one is embedded in the policy statement of their own. And that's what the president is talking to us as if we don't think. We are not novice. But the president, yes, I will tell you that he cannot solve, no president on earth, even in America, can solve problems or all the problems. But you can do the one you can, and others can. Like you just said too, it's a policy of years by year. But in this country, what do you do? As you come, it's my turn. Now, are you aware that we don't even talk about APC swollen?
All right, very well.
Now, what the swollen is, you really hope the change has been put under carpet. So for me, the indices on ground is not showing that everything that Mr. President said is true.
On the ground, economy. All right. It's not very true. Well. Very well. Now, speaking of security and national unity, now the president claimed in his speech that his administration is winning the war against banditry, against separatist groups, against Boko Haram and terrorism. Do you think that this assertion by the president is true, or is it an overstatement?
I think it's not true. Because information, we're not military men, but I know I've donated even some of my children to the security family, but they're in intelligence. And I have my way of getting information. You see, if you go to Zamfara State today, Zamfara, there are communities, local governments that have been taken over by bandits, terrorists, and they pay taxes before they can access their farmland with a sitting governor. You go to Kaduna, I'm talking about the corner, you go to Castina, they pay for them to come out and leave. They are attacked at random, but they pay money, not to the state. They pay to, how would they put it? We call them non-state actors.
Okay, non-state actors.
So we can categorize them into bandits, terrorists, armed robbers, criminals, but they are in control. There are cases where they have attacked military bases, displaced them, taking their weapons and armory. There are cases where there are high level of compromises because the weapons of even these enemies are more lethal than that of the state actors. And some of them run away from the front lines. So the president being the commander-in-chief is either not properly briefed or, of course, you cannot shoot yourself on the foot. You cannot come out to say we're not winning the war. That will mean that he should have resigned. Because his primary assignment is to ensure lives and properties of Nigerians and foreigners in this land is secured. This I'm talking recently, if you look one of the not new political parties, the one coming up, they give an analysis. I think that's the ADC. In fact, they are I think they're doing a very good job because they are bringing out the other side of the weakness of the government. They accused the president that for 2 consecutive times, the graduation of the, what's her name? NDA, where over 800 young officers, commissioned officers, were being shunned out. He had not attended to give a presidential speech and prepare their minds for the war, because this is more than insecurity. What we have in some part of our country is war, because even at wartime, the numbers of people that are dying are more. The average thing that the other day, the amnesty who gave, they said that over 10,000 lives have been lost in a country that there is no war. So how can you come up to say you have won that kind? Yes, they must have provided resources for the armed forces. They must have provided equipment. But they are not winning the war. Every part of Nigeria is supposed to be peaceful. People are supposed to come out, sleep with their 2 eyes closed. Look at the IDP camps. We are creating IDP camps every day. From the middle belt, just used to be very quiet. But recently it has been a flashpoint. And even in the south here and southeast, you have the ESN, you have the IPOB issues, you have the kidnapping issues. Most of the time, in my own local government, let me just give an example, River State here. The Calabar is from MOA. Do you know the person that is providing security? And their mama boys who are own the outfit that is owned by Alajasari Dokumo. If not, we cannot travel. Every time people travel there is a kidnap. But since those boys, they allow them to carry arms, he pays them. We can even midnight drive on our... If the normal non-state actors can be that strong and effective, what is happening to our own military people? Mind you, in the army they have the Director of Military Intelligence. In the Navy they have the Naval Intelligence. We have the what's the name? NIA, Nigeria Intelligence Agency. The kind of intelligence unit alone we have. There is nothing that is happening. Nowhere that a bandit will remain. No forests. We have the Air Force for crying loud. We have drones. Tell me what the country cannot afford. So I think that this security has been politicized. That's how I'm going to put it. Because just like what happens there, by the next election, all these people will call bad boys, non-state actors. These politicians have their direct lines. That's why the electorates are taken for granted. You cannot come out to say this government has not performed because they will not even allow you to get to the polling unit. They create artificial insecurity. These are the same boys that will be armed, that will be shooting before election results are declared. And you have a judiciary that has been compromised that will go and tell you that INEC has discretion to declare any result. Why are electronics voting not taking place? People vote from diaspora in other countries, and elections, immediately the election is over, results are announced. Look at Britain. How many times have they changed prime minister? Some don't even stop to 1 year again. Yeah. That's why I see the system is working. So, and part of the social security we're talking about is not just only military security. We have economic insecurity, like you have said, we have food insecurity, we have the combination of insecurity have.
So when we're talking about insecurity now, it's a lot. But for this particular conversation, we are looking at insecurity in the real sense of insecurity
of
lives, right? Now, when Bishop was speaking, he talked about the inability of the state actors, in this instance, the security apparatus, to contain insecurity. However, he used Niger Delta as an instance when some non-state actors were given contracts to guide the waterways, you know, and suddenly the waterways are now peaceful, right? So he's looking at if non-state actors could do this, could contain insecurity in a certain region, how about our military apparatus? And that's his statement reminded me of Yelwata massacre, where over 200 people were killed, and over 3,000 were displaced in how many hours? And the accounts, when that story was being accounted for, the massacre went on for hours and there was no presence of military. There was no intervention by security apparatus. And you recall that when the president did visit, you know, he asked the security chief there in front of when he was being
he went to Benue.
Your water is in Benue State.
But he didn't go to the same.
Hold on, please. So when he was having that conversation, he asked the security chief there and then, why has there no arrest been made? Like a massacre of this nature, and one person couldn't be arrested, right? So now that brings us to where we are right now. Do you think, I'll still ask you the same question I asked Bishop Ibioku, do you think that the president's assertion that the country is winning the war against insecurity, do you think is true or is an overstatement?
I would say it's not true. Very emphatic, it's not true. Because in Asarok, it's true. But outside Asarok, it's not true. In Abuja, some part is true. In some part of Abuja, it's not true. Because even yesterday, sorry, as we're discussing now, I have not heard that those armed robbers, because they target armed robbers, who killed the Arise journalists yesterday, Monday. I don't think that he has been arrested. That those people have been arrested. I don't think so. That tells you how we are playing with security in Nigeria. The politics side. Because see, it's not like what happened in the US. There is no country on earth that is free of violence. No country on earth, sorry. There will be a pocket of violence, but the duty of government is to be neutral. If government is not neutral in handling security issues, that country will be a kind of a place of gang war, like what is happening in Haiti. But until now, there are ethnic leaders, gang leaders, who have been able to partition this nation. So it's a question to our sovereignty. Because ordinarily, there is no way people can stay actors, not those who are cooperating with the government to go security, will now be, as we're discussing this Independence Day, there are some Nigerians are now like goats, where they are pricing on how to sell them in name of ransom. That we are in the same territory called Nigeria. There are some, you will hear that gays, like there's a report, the US is inducting Nigeria now, that when gays are freed, those girls are free from Boko Haram will now find their way back to Boko Haram. What does it mean? Something. So where is it that Boko Haram, are they in this place? Islam, look at what they call bandits, are they in this place? It shows high level of compromise. And it's boiling down to politics of how to win election at all costs. But one of the things that we see in our election, intimidation. I remember what happened to me in the 2019 election. I would have been killed where I went to monitor election. I would have been killed. Election result, election material came late. They said by 8 o'clock election should commence. But election material came by 2 p.m. And as the election result, material came, the election officer were about sharing. Some boy just came and said, everybody move out. And I just said, for what? If I tell you what I faced that day, if not people knew me, people stood to say, allow this man. There was a kind of a war. Those boys carrying hands. The policeman that guided the no harm. So at that point, we are living at the mercy of those criminal elements. And that's what is happening today. I want to please use the platform, Mr. President. We are not saying we are not fighting, we are not winning. But the winning is not enough to give us some mind to sleep and close our eyes. Because today, even in the villages today, we are building house with protector. How be aware? Inside village. In those days, villages were the best place to sleep, where you don't have fear. But today, you put protectors. You put, even in Cleveland today, we put gates, high fence. Yet, boys can come in, pull down your gates, pull down your protector, and enter into a house and sit down and say, "That follow us." There will be no arrest. And if you resist, you are killed. And you hear story. So for me, on the part of Mr. President saying they are winning the war, President, we are here to win the war, but there's effort. Let me help to add this. There's effort in place to see how to win the war. But as yes, how to fight it. Because as it is now, almost every region is facing one way, one war or the other, and we are a sovereign nation. Like I listened to Mr. Vice President at the UN. Speaking on behalf of Mr. President, that they should stop nuclear weapon in the world, and I laughed. Instead of you to collaborate with the world leaders to say, "Look, I have power in my country. Help us to see how to solve it." There's nothing wrong in collaborating. There's nothing wrong in seeking assistance to help fight all this war. But as it is now, we don't know who is fighting Nigeria. But as we were talking today, human beings have become like, God is even better sometimes than some of us. But why? They can even allow God to be in their houses. But today, some of us are tied and kept at the place without food. No, what I'm saying is not go and check. As you say this morning, on this first day of October, there was our 65th independence of Nigeria. So Nigerians don't have freedom. They are caged, they are enslaved, and they are using phone call to negotiate.
Well, when you say they are caged and all that, a lot of people may not understand.
I mean, of kidnapping.
Hold on, they might be thinking that you're talking about probably a kind of slave trade going on. But to make it clear, on the on the 11th of this month, my family will be burying my aunt.
Thank you.
Who was kidnapped?
Where?
In a school in FCT, in the heart of FCT.
Abuja.
She was kidnapped, and even after ransom was paid, she was killed. She was actually beaten to death, right? And it's very traumatizing.
I'll tell you something.
And I still have to come do my show and smile like everything is okay. But she left behind, children who may never forgive this country. And that's why they will always tell you in that balance, may Nigeria not happen to you.
That's it.
Nigeria happened to me. Nigeria happened to a sister TV station. Nigeria is happening to every single one of us.
Sorry.
And
let me console you. Sorry.
Well,
so let me tell you for free. When our leaders will tell us everything is working well, no problem. Just like our president going to Brazil to tell the whole world that there's no corruption, that alone gives room to suspicion. But even the Brazilian president knows that in his country there is corruption. Even in China, that we talk, there is corruption. About two days ago, someone was jailed about cryptocurrency.
Sentenced to death.
That is it. So there is no corrupt-free society on earth, but there is a kind of a mechanism to curtail excesses of criminal activities. So, but in Nigeria, of a truth, let me tell you for free, what is happening in this country? Like I said somewhere, that the number of people killed, the war, see the weapons of war used between the Ukraine and Russia, put it in monetary terms. Since the insurgency started in Nigeria, we have not used such amount, quote me anyway. Because if you to prosecute the war between Ukraine and Russia, we are talking of $5 trillion. But here in Nigeria, we are playing game. We are playing game with the bandits. And there are people. Can you imagine listening to one of them say, those who come to kill you in Nigeria are foreigners. Come on.
All right.
Who does that? Who says that to the people? So what is the problem of government? Our borders. The devil is porous. We don't have, see, the landmass of America, I thought we corrected. is 5 times or 4 times bigger than Nigeria. That's why we are unable to control our population. Population of America, no matter what, is also bigger than Nigeria.
The state of Texas alone, the landmass is all Nigeria.
So what are we saying? Those who have big landmass, they can in a way control. But when we are playing politics, everything is working. When somebody said that one bishop, a people of blessed memory, told one of the governors that you don't tell a blind man that Harmattan is blowing. So one government says everything is working, those of us in the streets, not everything is not working.
Right.
Until we get it right, all of us will see.
All right, very well. Bishop Iboku, with the reforms and achievements that President Bola Tinubu has highlighted in his presidential speech, do you think that he is building a case for re-election in 2027? Is he building a good case, actually?
Well, that would be for the electors to conjecture.
You are part of the electorate, aren't you?
Well, I don't know. I know I have a voting card. I have a voting card and I can vote, but I'm beginning to take that also very seriously because I may not be able to vote for certain kind of people. Because I know even if I vote, my vote may not count. So instead of, there are many people have taken to that position. All we do is to come as we are here now to add value by saying our own contribution if they want to listen. We have friends in government. When you talk to them, at times they look at you as, well, if it's our turn. Well, maybe they can even give you some dollars if you want to take this trade. They won't give you much, like $2,000. They can just give you $300, $500. But take food, forget. They don't want to be criticized. And if you do it the next thing, the lock their gate to you because you can become a spy to be looking at how they live or you are jealous of them. So we have the wrong reasons. I have even been in public office by God's grace, and I enjoyed when I was council secretary then. I love my chairman. He used, although he's late in Gobrich, he was one of the quintessential chairmen. Yeah. He goes to the market simply to empower market women. There are no forms. We call it grant. He can take 20 million and go, those women who do this small scale business, he gives this one 100,000. He gives by himself. The very written out this money, look everywhere. In that small abonnement there was no stealing. When you come from town, instead of these boys to run after you to give them money, they say, Auntie, sit down and take one bottle on us. I just saw practical governance. That when you inject in resources into the lives of the people, you don't need to even buy arms in the nation.
No.
Because the highest security is economic security.
That's it.
If I'm coming here now, what would be the reason why I will have one Mupoma in my front? The environment is such that I can't predict.
Yeah.
But I can come on public train and walk into this station.
That's it.
If you spend less when you are taking the right decision. What the arms you are buying, is it to kill your citizens? Now, so our politicians, incidentally, I've told you this, they've compromised security to a point whereby the criminals are not afraid of them.
No.
Because at the end of the day, they make use of the criminals.
Yes.
When they want to come, take hold of a place where the people know they are not doing well and they know they are not popular. They scare the people. And okay, do you believe that during Jega's time, we were doing a review of voters and all that. What do they call it? I think we're doing some going
voter registration.
Voter registration. A place where we add banditry, where we add this thing like the Northeast like that. They add more number.
Yes, yeah.
How is it possible?
How is it possible?
With all the killings and the massacres.
They don't even come out. But all over, the register was telling us that they had bloated numbers. More than us. So, and again, when the results were coming out, like what made our president to win his election was from the Northwest and Northeast. That's why the Northerners are not today that he is not looking at their side. In fact, he's anti-North. And because they brought him to, even in Lagos State, they lost.
He lost, yeah, he lost.
And that's after they have even rigged the election, it came close to it. If not, it was a far cry, beating, you know. So our Nigerians understand that if you allow them, if there is a real vote centered on the people, we will not have a problem. They will be able to tell Mr. President, this is your assessment. But Mr. President already knows, if you look well, he has muzzled all the opposition. In PDP today, they are confused.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's the carcass.
They are confused. In an election, what's going to an election here? They don't have a NWC that can discipline their members. In fact, their members are taking themselves to court. The secretary is against the national chairman. So you see that level. And these things are the kind of politics. Then you go to ADC today, the one that they are just forming. You discover already they are caught. So they have two leadership. So what the government is doing is to make sure that, in fact, there should be no candidates in these other parties, and the president is allowed to come and is adopted. Why is the fear? Is that there is unpredictable mindset of the people that they are not satisfied.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what we are talking. Okay, let us not say the president has done nothing. Because he has a budget, and he has ministers that are expending the budget.
We are also doing, sorry sir, we are on 2024 budget now.
No. For even the budget does not have, even the one National Assembly.
They can run concurrently.
One National Assembly is doing, you see the whole lot of confusion. What we call the addition, the subtraction, even between them themselves. We just have money we are spending, whether they are borrowed money, whether they are money coming from subsidy. And that is why we are saying that there's no strategic plan. Tell me now, this government, when they come out to say, in the next 6 months, that's how a government is planned.
Yeah.
Like he said, you can't do everything. You look at what we call, you do a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats and all that. You look at where your strength is.
Yeah.
You build up that anybody who's, if you go to China today now, these are people in Japan, these are people that were doing toys when Americans were started.
Yeah.
They started learning. Today now, China is on the neck of America. Yeah. In fact, why did China start? Everything that you have to import from America, they tell you, come and open the factory in China.
Yeah.
All right.
Then, on the board will be Chinese people. You don't bring your management. Then they understudy you. They are doing it in Ghana today now. You cannot go to Ghana, the way they protect the industries. You cannot, I was in Ghana for like 3 weeks. The village I stayed, I didn't see a light blink for one day in the hotel.
In a village,
oh my God. Oh, it's a town, one of the old towns in the northern part of Ghana. I drove for 18 hours from Accra to that place. Security, day and night. Security. You see the kind of buses they put on the road is not this one that can kill you. They make sure that those buses are fully air conditioned. You understand? You can see a country that is working. The president is out. He's on the street. You don't need, you can see the presidential villa on the road as you are driving past. You don't see Eiffels.
Yeah, do you know the
design? He walks freely. He comes to connect with the people. If they are fighting corruption, you discover that you see the sincerity. The last government, wherever they are, they connect with other countries and they bring them to book.
Yeah.
So the people are in control. They tell you, you are not going to come back. And the elections are done transparently that the way the people have voted. So everybody's on their toe. The government wants to perform.
You're right.
So basically what we need there is not that our people cannot do it.
You can do it.
Suddenly we have people who are in power today who like the office more than, governing the people well. And so what they've done is, let's get the old resources we can get from government and continue to intimidate the people, whether they like it or not. We will force ourselves on them and nothing will happen.
All right.
If we turn from, and that is causing more insecurity.
Yeah.
Because if you feel I can't do anything, even you are distant from me because by your unfriendly attitude. So when you are coming to a village, you take a retinue of a battalion of soldiers to come just visit your village and leave. Whereas the villagers should be the people that say our son has come. Now you are even scaring them. That is what bad governance brings about.
Right.
And I want to say that our president, everybody, they should know that it is in the name of the people they occupy any political office.
All right,
and
thank
the
you
people
so much, Bishop.
remains that relevant, and they will continue to remain relevant until they realize that.
All right.
We
Thank you
cannot
so
move
much.
forward.
Thank you so much, Bishop. I wish we had
Thank
more
you.
time to continue with this conversation, but then we are out of time.